Yes, sir. Hello. Check.
Okay. Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir.
Welcome, sir. Welcome to our portal. Uh, Good afternoon. It is the high time for having a session from a renowned person, Dr. S. Senthilnathan, sir, Director in charge, UGC Human Resource Development Center, and Professor, Department of Educational Technology, Bharathasan University, Tiruchirappalli, Tamil Nadu, India. Dear participants, we will start the program with a prayer.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين.
Okay.
Yes, sir. I can see you. I can hear you. Please go ahead.
Okay, sir. Dear participants, we are having an online faculty development program on teaching, learning, and evaluation in the digital era. Three resource persons they are going to share this 3 days. Dr. S. Senthilnathan, Dr. R. Ramnath, Dr. P. Muthupandi. These three gentlemen they will handle the classes in these 3 days. And regarding Dr. S. Senthilnathan, sir, he is a director in charge of UGC Human Resource Development Center. He is a professor of Department of Educational Technology, Bharathasan University, Tiruchirappalli. And he has completed his MA English, MA Journalism and Mass Communication, then MEd, then PhD. His area of interest and specialization are educational technology, ICT in education, e-learning, educational multimedia, e-content development, English language teaching. And key achievements of him, it is yes, he is a member of working group in the successful completion of UNESCO's assignment on learning to learn English with information and communication technology. He served as consultant to Commonwealth of Learning, COL Canada, in open and distance learning materials development in Bangladesh. Served as member Board of Management Educational Multimedia Resource Center, Madurai Kamaraj University. Served as member state level subcommittee on teacher education for reviewing the National Curriculum Framework 2005. Serving as a member in the expert committees of Bharatiyar, Bharathasan, Anna, Madurai Kamaraj, Tamil, and Tamil Nadu Teachers Education, Rani Channamma, Mother Teresa Women's, Karnataka, and Calicut Universities, and National Council for Teacher Education. He is serving as expert in the Academic Council of MHRD's National Resource Center, Department of Education, Central University of Kerala, Kasaragod. And he is serving as external member in the advisory committee in the School of Education under the Pandit Madan Mohan Malaviya National Mission on Teachers and Teaching in the Teaching of the Ministry of Human Resource Development, Government of India. He has organized and facilitated a number of capacity development programs on e-content development, and he has organized and facilitated a number of faculty development programs on web applications for facilitating learning, and he has yes, he's a guide for yes, B.Ed, sorry, M.Ed, MPhil and PhD levels, and he has guided 6 persons in PhD and he is guiding 6 persons right now, and he has completed 32 MPhil PhD MPhil candidates, and 8 of MPhil students are doing under him right now. And I take this opportunity to introduce myself as one of his ward. I have completed my second PhD in education technology under him only. I thank you in this opportunity, this session, sir. And he is the member, serving member as the Board of Studies in Educational Technology and Teacher Education at Bharatiyar University, Bharadas University, Tiruchirappalli, Teacher Education, PG at University of Calicut, and in English at PhD College of Arts and Science, Coimbatore, and in English at Nehru Memorial College, Tiruchirappalli. And he has served as a member in the Board of Studies in Visual Communication at Ayanadar Janayamal College, Sivagasi, and in Animation at Subbalakshmi College, Madurai. Serving as a member in the editorial boards of national and international journals, both online and print, on education, teacher education, and English language teaching. Some of the journals are, of course, they are running pages to pages, and publications. He has published information in research information in various international and national level journals. 39 papers he has published in international level and 19 papers in national level. And he has published 2 books: Reciprocal Teaching of Reading, ECT, Curriculum Development, Principles and Practice. Presented papers and invited lecturers in many national and international conferences. And he has he's having a project, major research project on digital literacy and techno-pedagogical practices of higher education teachers of Tamil Nadu, funded by ICSSR under Impactful Policy Research in Social Science, IMPRESS. Around 10 lakhs he is having under that project. And Special Assistance Program DRS1 and DRS2, he received nearly 29 lakhs and 55.22 lakhs. And he was a deputy coordinator for these 2 programs. And he has visited so many countries, including Singapore, Malaysia, and Bangladesh. And above all, he is a nice gentleman with salient features of qualities required for a best teacher. And I welcome you, sir, for this session. And the participants, please be aware of the information going to be showered on you by the great gentleman, Dr. S. Senthilnathan. Sir, this is your time, sir.
Thank you.
Hold on.
Thank you, sir.
Carry
Thank
on,
you. Sir, I hope my audio and video is clear. One
Yes,
of the
sir.
organizers, yeah, it's fine, right? So I would, it's indeed a great pleasure that Jamal Mohammed College is organizing a series of faculty development programs in the form of webinars, online capacity building workshops, and such activities. I know how Jamal Mohammed College is always giving importance to the professional development of its teachers. We know very well, because I myself have visited quite a lot of times your campus and interacted with all of you. Of course, in different occasions or different platforms. Maybe somewhere I would have come for academic council, somewhere I would have met you at the FDPs. It has happened like that, but I know. So I'm very happy that you are using this the pandemic lockdown period for the professional development of all the teachers through this DBT funded series of webinars. So, in fact, when Dr. Jamal Mohammed Jafar approached me, he was telling me that I should give 3-4 days of series of lectures. Then I thought we had a detailed discussion as to what areas of ICT integration into teaching and learning should be exposed to. And we thought we would expose you to 2-3 important perspectives. One is the digital learning from the technology pedagogy integration part. And the other one is, okay, now we know that the technology pedagogy integration is important, and from the different perspectives, we attempt to understand this concept. Okay, now we have understood. Then the next step is, so what are the technology platforms, web tools, web apps available for facilitating that type of an online learning? So the tools for online pedagogy. So that will be taken care by Dr. Ramnath. And then education is not everything about teaching and sharing information, sharing resources. And the most important part, or at least equally important part of education, is the evaluation. So now again we are in the pandemic situation. We do have the lockdown, and we have no idea when it is going to be lifted. And in this particular thing, you cannot keep on teaching, facilitating learning. So some form of formative evaluation, sometimes even summative evaluation, has to be done with the help of certain technology platforms and tools. That is why the third session will focus on online assessment tools. How do we do that? Right? So this is what is the way in which we discussed and arrived at certain sessions and identified resource persons. So in this series, I'm very happy to present my views in the first session on the techno-pedagogical perspectives of this learning from home. Right. So I would be sharing with you the I would share and I would be giving the copies of this PPT along with a couple of a list of websites rather to the organizers, and they in turn will be in a position to share with you. So what I plan to do here, I hope my screen is shared, sir. One of the organizers, please. One
Yes,
of the
sir.
organizers, yeah, it's fine, right? Okay. So now, so what we will do now in the given 1 hour is, in fact, at the outset, let me apologize to you for joining a little late, right? Almost about 11, 12 minutes I was late because this Zoom was asking for a reinstallation for some technical snag. So because as long as you take technology as a servant, it is very good. If you allow it to be a master, then it will give you some disturbances, right? Okay. So for quite some time, I was not on Zoom because now due to varied reasons, institutions are more moving towards Microsoft Teams or Cisco WebEx or Google Meet. So for some time, I was not using, because of that, it was just asking for a restart. So that's why it got delayed. So what I plan to do in this 40 to 50 minutes time is to present to you the concept of learning from home from this techno-pedagogical perspectives. And in fact, I thought if time permits, I would take you for a couple of demos. But now in the given time, it may not be possible. So what I plan to do is that I would share with Dr. Jafar and his team a set of identified web portals, the digital platforms which will facilitate this learning from home. So you can leisurely go through those web portals and see for yourself how these technology platforms, how these web resource platforms can be used for facilitating this learning from home. See, we all know that working from home or work from home was a concept that emerged first. With all these multinational companies, all these IT companies, they wanted to give a kind of relaxed work environment to its employees. So they started with the concept of working from home. You need not come here. You can relax at home and keep working. And till the target is very, very important. So you will have to work from home itself. There is nothing like it. But you see, it was something that people looked at as something very, very convenient. But later only people realized that working from home was much worse than working from office, because the way in which they dumped the work, the companies gave a lot of work because you are at home, right? And we have provided you internet connectivity free of charge and all the facilities. So you'll have to show extra output. That's all, right? But that is a concept that came up with. Now, one of the important impacts of this COVID-19 lockdown is the concept of learning from home, right? We all know how it has become right from kindergarten to post graduation, how people, all students, right, are into the concept and practice of learning from home. See, whether it happens with the Zoom platform or a WebEx platform or Teams platform, it doesn't matter. Or even if it happens with the Kalvi Tolakachi of the government of Tamil Nadu, ultimately what is happening is learning from home, right? And we will look at this from this technology pedagogy integration perspectives, right? Okay. And you see, when we talk about technology pedagogy integration, the most important aspects of learning that we want to touch upon is this interactivity, participation, engagement, involvement, joyful learning, meaningful learning, right, with technologies which are readily available. See, the most important thing is we are not going to talk about any technologies which are beyond the reach of you and I. We are going to talk only about those technologies which are very readily available to us. Sitting at home with the help of a laptop, with the help of your mobile phone, right? You have these technologies available at your fingertip, at your touch of a screen or a click of a mouse. So first important thing is our focus will be on those technologies which are not beyond the reach of the students and teachers. One, right? The second thing is all these technology resources, these e-resource platforms are available for us free of cost. The most important thing is the so-called OER, Open Educational Resources. They are available to us free of cost. No money is involved. Like for instance, Zoom platform, you don't spend any money. For your Gmeet, right? You don't spend any money. Right. Similarly, we are going to talk about a lot of the list that I'm going to share with you will have a little bit. Will have somewhere around 60 to 70 web portals, right, with a lot of electronic resources and links to certain tools like the Zoom platform or whatever is the case, right? And all of them are going to be made available free of cost. There is nothing like any payment involved here. So that is most important. So with these technologies which are readily available, which are available to us free of cost, how do we make the learning process more interactive with our learners? See, I would like to tell you, interactivity is very, very important. For instance, whether it is a classroom teaching in the chalk and talk mode, in the face-to-face mode, or it is online class on a very sophisticated platform, right? It doesn't matter. Interactivity is very, very important. And unless the teacher knows the tricks of interactivity, right, all these technologies will fail. You may not believe. The other day, I was interacting with one of my neighbor's son. He is in fifth standard or sixth standard, and I was just interacting with him. You are enjoying your online classes. I said, no, uncle, it is not like that. I am not at all enjoying. Then why he was telling, my friends and teachers, we don't find that any talking among ourselves. That interactivity. That's what he's trying to do. And teachers keep on talking. There, they were not talking to me. You see the small boy. See how he looks at. So it was there was a lack of one-to-one that link. So that is why interactivity is. There are a lot of technology platforms available which will enhance the interactivity levels inside the such classes. Participation. See, for instance, in this lockdown period, there were at least some 50,000 to 60,000, 70,000 webinars organized, right? And so every webinar, 500 people, 250 people, right? There so many people, right? And you see, how many of them were participating? And the question is, how many of them were attending and how many of them were participating? The most important, right? So participatory, right, is the learning is important. Participation is very, very important to learn, and engagement, right? So we should have the mental faculties engaged in the process of learning. Right? See what happens in a cinema hall, a theater. No, all our mind's attention, right, is kept engaged. Right? That is why even when there is a sad scene, people wipe their tears without their neighbor's knowledge because there is a very high level of engagement with the screen. We all stay glued to the screen. We start believing what's happening on the screen as a reality. Right? So that is the higher level of engagement that people have with a film platform or a television platform. Right? So that is what works behind that. Right? So it's basically the digital technologies and the idea behind digital learning in India, as I keep telling, is very simple. Why the very same technologies which give people better engagement experience in the theater cannot give our boys and girls better educational experiences sitting in our classes. That is what is the simple idea here, right? You see, when we talk about the word techno-pedagogy, right? See, I just have to, we know very well. Already I have talked about it, technology, pedagogy, I have talked. We also know the meaning. But when we look at these two things together, right, techno-pedagogy, right, I would give a very simple working definition for it for a better understanding. So it is an art and science of incorporating a variety of digital technology. See, I have used two expressions. One is other art and the other one science. So all these are technologies, no doubt. They are all the offshoots of scientific advancements, no doubt. But at the same time, a creative teacher can effectively handle all these tools. That is why it is both an art and a science of incorporating a variety of digital technologies in designing learning experiences. See, very important. the phrase learning experiences is important because it is the learning experiences that distinguishes institutions from other institutions. See, why do we say that IITs are ivory towers of learning? This morning, the IIT Delhi celebrated its diamond jubilee, right? So there was a lot of talk, right? You all should play very appreciative words from everyone about IIT Delhi. Okay? So why, right? Why is it called an IITs are big places of learning? IIMs are ivory towers of learning. Why is it that Harvard School of Business is the number one business school? All others are business schools. We have so many MBA institutions. All the same computers are there, same air conditioners are there, and the same projection systems. Everything is there. But why is it that Harvard School of Business is something very important? London School of Economics is something very important, right? Because it is the learning experiences that are designed for the learners that makes the difference. So here, how do we design the learning experiences for the learners? So what for we design the learning experiences so as to enrich the learning process and ensure better learning outcomes. See, you have always been working on outcome-based education. So you are an institution which has already gone well into outcome-based education. So your focus is more on learning outcomes, I know. So how do we ensure better learning outcomes? Right? With the help of the learning experiences that we design with the help of technologies. Right? So that's it. Right? So when we talk about designing learning experiences and enhancing the learning outcomes, we should keep in mind two important things. One is, you see, this is a quote, right, of an educational technologist made in 2008, right? You see, the 10-year period is over. What he predicted would as something that would happen over the next 10 years period, that has already happened. What he was telling is that education is undergoing some fundamental changes. The changes are happening at the fundamental level. So what happens till the second week of March? See, all of us were very comfortable with our chalk and talk way of business, right? Okay, and all the boys came to college early in the morning very happily, right? Okay, and we all went there very happily. That's how it was going on. You see, in those times, right before March second week, so anybody not going to college in the morning, right? You see, you cannot have good learning experiences. What are you going to do sitting at home? What are you going to do sitting in a cyber cafe? What are you going to do sitting in front of a television? You cannot learn anything. You will only be wasting time. But what happens, right? Just 3 months later, right? All learning is happening when students are sitting at home and the teachers are sitting at home. So that is what we were saying. We were what Tuomi meant to say, that changes are happening at the fundamentals of the education system. So no longer students have to go to institutions to learn. Students can be at home or anywhere and keep learning. The best quality learning can be happening. Right? That's it. Right? So and these changes are transformative. They are transforming the roles of teachers. They are transforming the roles of the principal. They are transforming the roles of the parents. They are transforming the roles of the students also. Right? So different roles they'll have to play. Right? And how the previous teaching practice of the teacher directed and chalk and talk model. Of course, we were all very comfortable with our chalk and talk business. And anybody who talked against the chalk and talk model was not taken well, was not taken well. But what happened? Where do we go and do where is the blackboard now at home? Right? Where do we do the chalk and talk business? No way it is. Right? It's all now we have become, right, an online facilitator of learning. Right? So that is the message I would like to communicate to you. So for better ideas on this dynamics of digital age education, you can go to this beautiful report available on the web for free download. You can just give on the Google search report of the project tomorrow. Though it is 9 years old, there is so much that we can learn about digital age education. See, it has already happened worldwide. Many countries it has already happened long back, but we are truly getting into digital age education only during this pandemic. I would say, as an educational technologist person, though it is not a good time to be happy about because it's all everywhere. There is a fear of corona infection and what to do, what not to do, right? Nobody is so clear. So it is not a time to be very happy about. But at the same time, as an educational technology person, I am happy that the result of this pandemic lockdown is that people have understood the power of this digital education, and everyone, whether willingly or unwillingly, right, getting into the dynamics of this digital education, right? So we are slowly but steadily going into this digital education model. So here at this juncture, reading of a report like this will be really helpful to you. It is available for free access. You can get it. Right? Otherwise, I can share with Dr. Jafar, who can in turn share with you. Right? I would be happy if you just go through this quote. Right? In fact, if you were a participant of some training programs of mine, if there are some talks about ICT, I would have shared this with you already. You just go through that quickly just to get to know the meaning. Yeah. This is a quote of a teacher, a professor, or we don't know, a college teacher or school teacher. However, by name Samuel May. In 1855, he came out with the observation about an experience he had in 1813. Okay. You see how they attended some school, some training school, and when they entered the room, they were little surprised as to why it is hanging here. It had a black colored board on the wall, and they were a little surprised why these bits and pieces of white chalk. What is it going to happen? And they saw some cloths, right, both sides for wiping the board or something like that. Right? And they had never heard of such thing before. They have never seen that, they never heard of that, and they never knew that it was going to be a tool in the hands of the teacher for use while teaching, while facilitating learning. So this is the way the blackboard came into the classroom way back in 1830. So 207 years earlier. So please be sure that I am not against the use of blackboard. I am not being negative about the use of blackboard. I strongly believe in the fact that the blackboard can be a good tool in a classroom. Inside a classroom, especially Indian classroom, a blackboard can be a very good tool, right? How, if the teacher knows how to handle it effectively, no doubt at all. But at the same time, as I am not being negative about the use of blackboard, I am trying to be positive, or I am trying to be focusing your attention onto the recent tools available for facilitating that. So blackboard and white chalk was the only tools available earlier. But today, what are the tools that we have right in front of us for facilitating learning? All these things are available to us very readily. Right? So starting from FM radios to intelligent learning systems. Maybe intelligent learning systems may not be available to you right now, but a very progressive management like Jamal Mohammed management can get one very, very soon, right? With artificial intelligence based learning systems. Right? So this is how it is. There's a range of technology tools. So all that I'm trying to say again here is I am not being negative about the use of Blackboard. I do value Blackboard as a very powerful tool, but at the same time, I'm trying to communicate one thing to you, that this is time for us to think of newer tools in our professional lives, more advanced tools in our professional works. And I have put a couple of things in red color, right? You and I, as teachers of the digital era, you and I, as teachers of the 21st century, have to essentially take these things as red alerts in our profession, like the MOOCs, massive open online courses, open educational resources I was already talking about, those electronic resources, gadgets, services, software, tools, apps, which are available for free to use, free access, free download, free use, free sharing. That's what is open education resources. And educational cloud apps, for instance, most of you may have a Gmail account, and if you have a Gmail account, you are already using the Google Cloud for education, right? Google Cloud rather, it's not Google Cloud for education. But if you are using a Google Classroom, then you are using a Google Educational Cloud, right? So we talked later sometime I'll mention about Web 2.0, the second generation web technologies and tools, right? And in Tamil, it is called as Irandam Talaimurai Inaya Tolilnutpagal, Web 2.0, second generation web technology and mobile apps for learning. I don't know how many of you are using it, but your sons and daughters may be elaborately using it because the school level kids have so much of mobile apps for their learning, for mathematics, English, grammar, right, geography, right. For every subject, they have different mobile apps. I need not necessarily be a platform like Byju's apps, there are different platforms. There are a number of free apps available. Right? And artificial intelligence, virtual reality, and augmented reality tools, AI, VR, AR tools for education. Right? This is something. These three we say is going to be the defining technologies of the next generation e-learning: artificial intelligence, virtual reality, and augmented reality. And they are already making deep inroads into every field. Artificial intelligence is there in every field, including agriculture, right? Medicine, surgery, right? Again, virtual reality tools, and are into production industry, corporate world, and augmented reality software and tools for many things that human beings are involved, right? And intelligent learning systems, again, highest form of adaptive e-learning systems, right? Okay. And I would just spend a little bit of time here on the new media impact, right? Uh, so a few minutes we will discuss this new media impact, right, in terms of what they have done to our education system. And by the term new media, I refer to the so-called WWW. I know you would all take WWW as World Wide Web, no doubt. But I would suggest that this WWW can be reinterpreted as whatever, whenever, wherever also, because the especially now with the increased mobile internet access, the web can give you whatever you want, whenever you want, and wherever you want. With our internet mobile access, anytime on the go you get anything delivered, right? Okay. So no questions asked about knowledge being delivered at the touch of a screen, or a click of a mouse, or swiping the right touch screen pad, right? So the impact, the influence, right? The heavy influence on the new media on the education system is equally on all the four M's, the four pillars, right? Okay. We say that materials, methods, media, and men. They are the four pillars of the new media, the education systems, in any education system for that matter, right? And again, please don't be mistaken. The word men is used with a capital M to include women also. There is no gender bias here, right? So capital M I have used, right? Okay. So the materials, and when you think of the materials that have been impacted or influenced by the new media, if you want to understand better, you can just make a small comparison. See, look at the types of materials that we used in our school days and college, and what types of materials our sons and daughters or students are using from their school days and college days. If you just make a comparison, you will understand that there is a lot of technology mediation in the types of materials our students are using and methods. See, please understand, whether teaching has undergone any revolution or not, but learning has undergone a revolution. Please understand. Whether we have modernized our methods of teaching or not, our students have modernized their methods of learning on their own. Right? Probably. The Jafar sir might not have told in his class that YouTube can be a space for learning the centrifugal force, centrifugal pumps functioning. Okay? He might have given a talk on centripetal force and centrifugal force and how these pumps work, right? And on a particular day in a class, in the evening, the child might have gone home, the student might have gone home, right? And just logged into YouTube, right? And he would have given centrifugal force or centripetal force, and he might have come across a lot of web pages, and no doubt, third or fourth result would have been on the Google result page, would have been a YouTube video. So then he just goes to the YouTube video and learns, right, centripetal force, centrifugal force from a beautifully created video with animation graphics. Oh my God, so beautifully explained, the centrifugal force, the centripetal force, right? And as soon as he completes watching, he shares that video with 4 or 5 of his students, and in turn they share to the other 4 or 5. Then the entire class gets the YouTube link for that centripetal force or centrifugal force. So it was not given by any teacher. On their own, they identified. So the next day, they may not go to Google and search for some other concept. They will straight go to YouTube and search for videos on physics concepts. So that is how they modernize their methods of learning with the help of electronic resources, with the help of videos, with the help of graphics, animated graphics, and with such multimedia content. And the media, see, you and I, we had always been text and print media based learners, right? If you just go back to your school and college days, all that we have learned have been learned through text and print, right? We did not have videos to learn from. We did not have multimedia to learn from. But today's boys and girls learn through print also, learn through text also. But in addition to that, there are audio files, there are audio books, there are videos, there are graphics, there are animations, there are infographics, right? There are images, plenty other things to learn from. So the media for learning is not only text and print, but much more than that. Multiple media, or the so-called multimedia. So the need for you and I, the men and women, to undergo changes, right, in our perspective of education, right? It's very, very important. So the impact of the new media on the education system has resulted in what is called the digital age pedagogy, a pedagogy for a digital age. Then, what is this pedagogy? We all know the word pedagogy is again two-dimensional in its meaning: the art of teaching and science of learning. See, there are two things to it. One is the art of teaching, and the other one is the science of learning. Okay? And the digital age pedagogy refers to the particular teaching, learning, evaluation systems, practices which are in place in a digital learning environment. Right? It is that. Okay? And this digital age pedagogy is characterized by four factors or four dimensions. Right? Again, there are no great theories involved here. It's very easy to get the points. One is the learners are digital learners. They are not text based learners, they are not print based learners, they are digital learners. So digital learners involve themselves in digital learning, for which they expect the content to be made available in digital forms, first thing. And the digital learning environment, the learning environments are digital. And you see, right now we are all connected, right? And there is a learning environment that connects all of us, or there is a learning environment that exists among all of us. So Dr. Jafar is sitting in Jamal Mohammed campus. I am sitting in Bharadas University campus. Somebody else may be sitting in Karur. Somebody else may be sitting in some other part of Trichy, right? But we are all separated by distances, but still we are all connected by an environment. And this environment is a digital environment. Why it is digital environment? Because for creating this environment, the internet is required, web is required, laptops are required, mobile phones are required, right? And internet connectivity is required. Your data is required. All these things together have created the digital environment. That's why the learning environment is digital. So the learning environment is not physical these days, it is rather digital, it is rather virtual, virtual. It cannot be seen with human eyes, it is not tangible, but it is existing, right? It is virtual and it is visual, visual. Because if I just minimize this screen, I can see all of you. And if you just pin me, or if the facilitator pins me, all of you can see me. So all of us there are the visuals, right? Visual learning environments, right? And the next thing is the digital media for education. And I call that as digital edutainment media, a combination of two words, education and entertainment. Why? Because the most of these media platforms, let it be television, let it be video, let it be mobile app, graphics, animation, multimedia, all these were originally meant for entertainment, and we are using all these entertainment media for education, so it becomes edutainment. But most important thing is edu stands first and tainment stands next. That is more important, we should understand, right? Okay. And all that I have raised a small question for is that, do we have a digital generation of teachers, okay, who can willingly learn all these things in irrespective of the subject backgrounds that we come from, any background you come from? Whether you teach physics or chemistry or botany or Tamil language or literature or Sanskrit, it doesn't matter. any teacher of any subject has to invariably possess some ICT skills. So, do we have teachers who are willingly learning that? And who do we have teachers who are on who are ready to redesign their pedagogies, right, out of interest on their own? Now you see some of the teachers are redesigning their pedagogies, no other go, because we are left with no other option. Because I don't want to mention a couple of self-financing colleges have already told openly the teachers, see the teachers who are ready to handle online classes, you come back to our college. Otherwise, others who need not come back at all, you can come and collect your certificates, right? Because we need teachers who can handle online classes, right? So that's it, right? So do we have a digital generation of teachers, right? That's important, right? See, I would spend a little time on this digital learners. Why we are talking about digital learners in depth is because the most important thing is when we talk about learner centric models, when we talk about student centered education, we must understand the dynamics of the student centric learning, and we should understand we should develop some deeper insights into the learners, students, because in learner centric environments it is they who stand right at the center. It is their learning is more important rather than our teaching. For a better understanding of today's boys and girls, the learners, I would direct your attention to this person, Mark Prensky. Mark Prensky is a very celebrated writer, a very thought provoking writer. He wrote a lot of articles, a lot of talks he has given. You can find all of these things on the website of his own, markprensky.com. But I would focus on one particular mm, article, that is this digital natives, digital immigrants. See, this is about 9 years old or much more than that, right? Okay. But the article is full of very vital, very relevant ideas which are under research even today, not only in one field, but in many fields like education, psychology, media science, communication. Basically, he is a very great communications person. And what he said was, in this article, Digital Natives, Digital Immigrants, a very thought provoking idea, a theory. That is, he said the whole human population can be classified into two broad categories. It is possible. And what will be the base for such classification is the year of birth, in which year a child was born, in which year an individual was born. Based on that, we can classify them into two groups. That's what he said. And so how do we go with two groups? One, all those children born after the electronic boom period in the country. And the other group, all children or all people born before the electronic boom period. And he said any country will have about 4 to 7 years of a period identified as an electronic boom period, a digital boom period. And all children born after this electronic boom period, they take birth in a digital world and they grow in a digital world, so they become digital natives. And all those people who were born before this electronic boom period, digital boom period, they have taken birth in a pre-digital world and they have migrated themselves into a digital world, so they all become digital immigrants. See, the real problem is that digital natives cannot understand the language of the non-digital era immigrants, and the digital immigrants cannot speak that digital language which is understood by digital natives. That's a real problem. And in the article, Mark Prensky says that the real problem in developing nations education systems is this: the classrooms are filled with 100%, all the boys and girls are digital natives, and the teachers, at least 60% of the teachers who go to their classes, they are digital immigrants. That is the real trouble. So that is where the understanding, right? I would be happy if you go and read this person, Mark Prensky, because reading of Mark Krensky will give you some deeper insights into the digital learners, especially the adolescent and the teenage boys and girls, UG students, BG students. They'll give you some deeper insights. I just have some funny pictures to show you, right, how this digital net is formed. And you see, another article is backup education, another article is role of technology in teaching in the classroom, another good article. Right? So I just have just funny pictures. I know you're getting tired a little. So I have some funny pictures to show you, right, as to how these digital kits are formed. Right? So these digital technologies, they reach the children much earlier. So compared with you and I, we all touched our remote only in the 20s, early 20s. Okay, maybe when we were in the UG, right, the television came and the television with many channels came, BPL, Sanyo, Dynera, right, and Solidaire. Okay, those were all remote-less televisions. After that, BPL, I think, came with a TV with a remote, a color television. Okay, and that was the time we came into contact with the remote device. But just see at what age a child gets exposed to all these technology gadgets and platforms. Let it be a remote or a touch screen or a mouse or any keypad for that matter. When did we touch our mouse pad? When did we touch our right, keypad? When did we touch our mouse, right? Okay, our laptop? And what age these children are doing? The big difference is all these technology platforms reach them much earlier in their formative periods. So the formative period, whatever experiences they have, that gets strengthened. You see how babies will be born in future, right? Okay. And if there is something like that that happens in the days to come, also, you should not get surprised, right? Okay. You see how technology penetration. Right? Okay. Look at the girl, right? A young mother, right, using the back of an infant as a mouse pad. You see here, I just want you to go back a little, right? Think at what age you had the touch and feel of a computer mouse. What age? Maybe early 20s or late 20s. That's how it happened. But look at this boy or a girl, right? 1.5 years or 2 years, right? They get the touch and feel of a computer mouse. See here, you can say that you see touch and because they get the touch and feel of a computer mouse, are they going to be something different? Can the basic structure of a human personality be changed because of these technology gadgets? We can have two interpretations here. One is no tools. A mouse is a tool, a laptop is a tool, a mobile phone is a tool, and these tools cannot have any big change in the human personality. They cannot influence the human behavior. That can be one stand. But on the other hand, there can be the other stand. Like, they are capable of influencing human personality. These are capable of influencing human behavior. For which I would give the example, I would give the words of Marshall McLuhan. Marshall McLuhan was a great communication scientist who said, we, the human beings, shape our tools first, and after some time, the tools will start shaping us. That's what is really happening. Right? See, what we fear is that during the lockdown period, we are quite comfortable, right? We are very happy that some online classes are being conducted. Students attend classes on Teams or Zoom or Google Meet or GoToMeeting, some platform, and they're keeping themselves academically busy, academically in touch. Otherwise, imagine a situation 5 or 6 months, the students are all out of their academic work, and when they come back, putting them in an academic path itself will take another 3 months. So at least to keep them on track of writing tests, giving assignments, right, and making them learn through some sessions, all these things are okay, right? Okay? But imagine, right, a situation where bringing them back, right, to a normal situation, right? Okay? So they are into it, right? So right morning to evening, they're with all these technology platforms, right? So on the day one of the reopening, you say you should not bring your laptop, you should not bring your mobile phone, you should undergo classes here, right, in the chalk and talk mode. They write, take your notebook and write lecture notes. They may not be in a position to do. Please understand. Right? Okay? And you see, there is no generation gap. You see, it's all the same touchscreen generation. And you see, this is a famous picture on the social media platform, the Neogen alphabet. See, as you can see, whatever that we learnt as A for apple, B for book, that's all gone. The days are gone. And today, all these boys who are at this ABCD learning category, they speak a lot of technology. They use a lot of technical vocabulary. That's why a first standard boy maybe comes home and tells, Daddy, I want the laptop to download something for my project. Mummy, I want the laptop. I want to download something for my project work. Right? Project work was an expression we heard only in PG. Right? And downloading was a word which we came across only in our PG or MPhil. Right? And those technical vocabularies, this boy, a first standard boy, speaks. Right? So that's a big change. So that is where, please understand. So you see, look at a third standard answer sheet, right, from laughingcolors.com. So a third standard student answers like this, right? So according to him or her, these are the essential elements of human survival: Android, WhatsApp, and Facebook. I know if this question paper is given to Dr. Jaffer, uh, his answer will be air, water, and food, because he already has got his daughters married, he has got grandchildren, so he has reached that age, right? So his answer would be Android, air, water, and food. But his grandchildren would answer like this: Android, WhatsApp, and Facebook, right? So, and that is a big difference, right? And look at this boy or a girl, if they come to our class, right? And I hope, in fact, we should all get retired before these children come to our classes. And finally, when the teacher says you may make notes, this is how they make notes, right? So it's very simple. All that I'm trying to tell you is that, so storage of knowledge becomes digital, learning becomes digital. That is where I quote the New York Times. The New York Times, a very famous newspaper of the world, sometime in the year 2016, it came out with a beautiful editorial in which they wrote the learning was once an oral thing. Okay, it was all talking and listening. Right? Maybe go back to your Gurukula days. Right, the guru just spoke, and the Shishya just listened to. Right, in the early days of Islamic education also was like that. In the early days of Christian monasteries also it was like this. Buddhist monasteries also it was the same, right? So the masters used to speak, right? Okay. And hello, madam, I'm in a class, madam. Please call a little bit later. So, so that is how it is. All religious institutions which were meant for learning, that is how it was, right? They were whoever was at the teaching end, they were just talking, and the learners were listening to. And that is why New York Times wrote, "Well, learning was once an oral thing. After that, it became a print thing, and now it has become a digital thing." That is what the New York Times said. So it has become all digital learning. Right? Okay. So these are famous pictures again on the WhatsApp. Right? The three apples that changed the world. Right? So Adam and Eve apple, Newton's apple, and Steve Jobs apple, the mobile phone that has happened, that has changed the lives of many, many people. And this is again the biggest fears of our generation. Right? We all know this, right? Especially now with the lockdown period, there is a lot of data sharing. Your son is attending a class, your daughter is attending a class, you also have to take a class, right? So whenever you feel that the internet is going down, that if from 4G it goes to 3G, after some time you get worried, right? You become really get irritated. Oh my God, I think I should change over to some other network, right? This is not good. I should go to that one, like that, right? So the second one is, how that fear, right? How much of time is taking for the video, right? And those of the students, right, attending classes and the teachers taking classes on the mobile platforms. You always have the power bank, right? Okay, attached with it, right? Some people they keep all the day, all the time connected, right? Okay. Some people connect their mobile phones and stand near the plug points, right? So almost they use it like a landline phone. They cannot move away from that plug, right? That is how, right, the fears of the generation. Of course, these were all just I was sharing for the fun of it. But you see, beyond the laughter, beyond the fun, all that I have been trying to tell you is that the generation is getting more and more digital every day. I would appeal to you that you read these books. Of course, now we have some time. We have some free time at home, and that is something you'll have to rethink. Right nowadays, it's all lockdown, but still all of us seem to be very busy. We don't find time. Okay. However, if you effectively manage your time, I'll be happy if you read these people like Ian Jukes and Anita, Understanding Digital Kids. Why I say that is because next one is also Understanding the First Generation of Digital Natives, Palfrey and Gazer. Why it is important is because, see, we are all anxiously waiting for the reopening day. On the day one, we want to go and meet our boys right inside the campus. Right? That is the happiness. Right? But I would tell you, on the day one after the reopening, when you go to your class, 40, 50 boys and girls you're going to see in front of you, all of them are the first generation digital natives. So they are all born after the year 93, 94, 95. That is the electronic boom period in India, right? And we must understand that. We must develop some deeper insights into who they are, what are their preferences, what are their styles of learning. Otherwise, we are going to be irrelevant to them. It is a question of relevance, right? How do we make ourselves relevant to them? Look at this. Why do I need a teacher when I've got Google? See Ian Gilbert's book, a little negative in its title, right? And the tone of the title is a little negative. See, there is no need for a teacher because there is Google. That is what is the meaning it conveys. But you see, the book is a very positive book where there is an elaborate discussion on why a teacher is needed in spite of Google. So, in other words, the sum of this book, the idea summed up in the book is very simple. What are we supposed to be as Google age teachers? We are teachers, and we are teachers in the Google era, we are teachers in the YouTube era, we are teachers in the Wikipedia era, right? And as teachers of the Google era, what we are supposed to be doing and how we are supposed to be doing. Very beautiful books. These are all e-books freely available. You can read, right? Okay. And I will just skip these few things, right? And I go to the digital learning environments, right? Just quickly because I have just a few more minutes left, right? So the digital learning environments. See, today, this is the type of learning environment that prevails in the world. It is a borderless education system, a global learning environment. Any learner from anywhere can learn from any institution. See, for instance, if I ask Dr. Jafar and team, right, how many kilometers you are away from Jamal Mohammed College? They will laugh at me. What, sir? We are very much inside, right? And we are just a 0 kilometer away from the campus. And how many kilometers you are away from Temple University of USA? How many kilometers you are away from Center for Advanced Studies, Belgium, right? So it is equally 0 kilometers because at the click of a mouse or a touch of a screen, you can be on the screen of any institution. Like for instance, if you just go to the IIT Bombay, IIT Bombay has got a portal called colearn.in. Colearn.in, if you just click open right now, immediately after the session, of course, there are no sessions going on, but if there are some sessions going on, maybe between 4:45 and 5:45, there is a session going on in IIT Bombay, and that is live videographed and streamed. That means the learning experience that an IIT Bombay student gets on the campus, any other engineering college student, any other science student, technology student can get it from any part of India, from any part of the world. So IIT Bombay is just a click away for your students. Okay? Jamal Mohammed College students need not necessarily learn from Jamal Mohammed faculty members and their resources alone. Any institution they can visit online and they can get the benefits right online, mostly free of cost, right? Okay. And the entertainment media today is multiple media, as I told you, multimedia, right? They're not only text and print, right? So I would appeal to you before I conclude with in a few minutes, right? The book of this nature will be really helpful to you, Teaching with Technology, right? So by Siemens and Peter, that which throws elaborate light on the different aspects of teaching with technology, and they talk elaborately about augmented classroom experiences, blended learning model, and online learning opportunities available. For instance, you teach physics or chemistry, or anything for that any subject. So you identify a good YouTube video, right, explaining the concept of a functioning of some components. For instance, if you go to animatedengines.com, you see one four-stroke engine animated without breaking it open. What is happening inside is very clearly animated and shown to you. So what you do, you handle a class on four-stroke engine and the power, torque, everything you explain. And at the end of the class, you show a video of about 10 minutes. Thereby, you provide an augmentation to the classroom experience. You are augmenting a classroom experience. You are making the learning a little more elaborate, little more effective, little more efficient, right? So you are enhancing the learning, right? So that's what is augmenting a classroom experience. And blended model. See, now the government of India, I'm just interacting with some people there. They say that after the post-COVID environment also, right? India will go for some blended model, right? It's about 50% of online teaching and 50% of classroom face-to-face mode of work, because to avoid further infections and crowding, maybe we will make it as 6 days work will be there. So all students and all faculty will work 6 days, but 3 days from institutions and 3 days from work from home, like that it may happen. And they talk elaborately about online learning, how it can be used in complementary and supplementary modes. But now the third mode is more important, right? Earlier we used to have alternative mode as the third mode because we thought it will take more time, but now the COVID-19 lockdown has compelled all of us to take online learning as an alternative to face-to-face mode of learning. So that is the important thing. And you and I, the digital age teachers, I'm just drawing to a close, right? What are we supposed to be? We are not supposed to be dispensers of information, and we are supposed to be orchestrating the learning process. And we should help our students to get information from the web. First thing is information literacy. We should give our students how to get information from the web, and converting that information into knowledge with the help of the higher order thinking skills, the HOTS, HOTS, higher order thinking skills. We should help our students. So getting information, how to do it, and how to convert that information into knowledge with the help of the higher order thinking skills. Right? So that is what I would like to say. Please understand, if information has to be converted into knowledge, then higher order thinking skills are important. And these higher order skills, thinking skills are something that you and I alone can give. Google can never give higher order thinking skills. That is how we come to a kind of an agreement with Google, in the sense that let Google give what it can give them to our students, and let you and I give our students what Google cannot give them. Please understand. Google can give hundreds of things to our students, but at the same time, Google cannot give thousands of things to our students, which you and I alone can do as human teachers. Right? So this is, you know very well, the Bloom's taxonomy, you know very well, the lower order skills and higher order skills. You already work elaborately with it for your curriculum revision. Well, I know very well. So the yellow color box here, that on the right extreme, is something that talks elaborately about the different communication spectrum available for the so-called lower order skills and higher order skills. Right? Okay. And you see, this is the a simple pyramid where you find a range of second generation web technologies, Web 2.0 tools, right, for different skills, right, different levels of cognitive domain of learning. And only one thing I have to tell you, I'm not going to talk about any of these things. Only one thing I have to tell you. All these things are, whether it is VoiceThread, Prezi, Wikispaces, Protagonize, iRubric, RubyStar, right, or Exploratory, or anything for that matter you take from this pyramid. All these things are so user friendly platforms that you will learn them in a period of about 5 days, 6 days, or 10 days at the maximum. So that is what I would like to tell you. When you find a little bit of free time these days, you just go, click voice thread. Just give on Google search voice thread or Prezi. It takes you to voice thread platform. From there, you go and see for yourself how to work with these platforms, because these are all advanced technologies. And please understand, with regard to web technologies, more advanced they become more user friendly. They become easier to work with, right? So over a period of about 5 days to 10 days, every one of you can very easily master the use of all these platforms. You can explore, learn for yourself, and start using them. Right? Okay? So you and I, we are not supposed to be solo singers of knowledge, and we are all accompanied. We are all singing in an orchestra. In an orchestra, people will be there. Somebody will be there on the veena, somebody will be there on the tabla, somebody will be there on the flute. All of them will play music, and we have to sing according to the music being played. So this is the type of a teacher that we are. We We are supposed to be networked teachers. You cannot stay aloof. You cannot stay away from technologies. Whether you teach any subject, it doesn't matter. Integrating some technologies into teaching and learning evaluation is very important, right? That is why we have to network with many things. And you and I, right? Please understand there are many things available, right? For instance, if you just go to the previous one, there is digital photo sharing, social bookmarking, networking sites, chat platforms, video conferencing, wiki, blogs, plenty are there. So, what are we supposed to be? We are supposed to play the role of the central force in getting that benefit to the learners, because after all, that is possible only by the teachers, and for which all of us should have this technological pedagogical content knowledge. TPCK or TPACK, it is pronounced as TPAC, Technological Pedagogical Content Knowledge. It is very simple. Your MSc Mathematics gave you the content knowledge, that is your subject knowledge. And of course, over a period of some 5 or 6 years, 10 years, 15 years, you have learned how to handle the physics subject to your students. That is the skills of teaching. That is the pedagogical content knowledge. And now, as 21st century teachers, you are supposed to have that extra one T, that is technological pedagogical content knowledge. That is what technologies I should use to teach this particular subject, this particular topic to my students. Right? So that is what is technological pedagogical content knowledge. You cannot use PPT for everything. You cannot use videos for everything. You should know what technology platforms will be effective, right, to teach what type of content to what type of learners. Right? So all this is important, right? So all that is has to happen means we all should master some ICT skills, and we should use ICT for creating a new learning culture. See, if you practice a new teaching culture, then a new learning culture emerges. Right? And I just close here, right? Giving the words of Alvin Toffler. I always close my talks with Alvin Toffler. This person is a very thought-provoking writer. He wrote in one of the books entitled "The Future Shock." We all of us, right, to be professionally successful, we should practice these mantras. The mantras for 21st century professional success is learn, unlearn, and relearn. Anyone incapable of learning, unlearning, and relearning, or anyone who is not learning, unlearning, and relearning, is no better than an illiterate. So everyone has to keep learning and has to unlearn something old and has to keep on relearning something in a revised context. Right? So let us learn all these technologies, these tools, and use them. All that I have to tell you, right, is that we have to do today's jobs with today's tools. There is a proverb, okay? And if you do today's jobs with yesterday's tools, you may be out of business tomorrow, right? But how much of time do we have? Sir, can we now take all this lockdown period for all learning these things, and can we start practicing all this technology enhanced learning the moment reopening is done? Can we take this time like that? Sir, another 1 month, maybe a lockdown period, I will use this time for learning all these things. And then the college reopens, I will start practicing all these education technologies. Can we say like that? No, it is not possible. That's what Langian philosophy says. Lang says we live in a moment of history where change is so speeded up that we begin to see the present only when it is already disappeared. Even before we see the present, it has started disappearing. That is the speed at which the world is changing, right? Every day, every minute, every second. And to catch up with that speed, all of us have to pull up our socks and get into the right processes of learning, unlearning, and relearning right now. Because there is a proverb like tomorrow never comes, right? So start something today, right? And do something with today. Right? So thank you, every one of you. I am available to you for further discussions on my mail ID. My WhatsApp is there. So I close here. And it is over to the organizing team. Yes, sir, I'm here. I can hear you.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I can hear you.
Nice presentation. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yes, sir.
So the feedback forms have been the feedback forms have been already sent to the participants. Dear participants, I hope that you would have enjoyed the session. No doubt in it. With this bombastic language, of course, he used to pour everything in a downpour manner. He used to spare everything here. And thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, one second.
My
Yes, sir? One second, sir. There are a couple of questions in the chat box.
Yes.
Yeah, one question is online teaching effective as blackboard teaching? That's a question. So I would just answer this. You can just mute. I will answer
Yes, sir.
this.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, see, we don't look at these online classes as a kind of a replacement for classroom teaching at all. First thing, we look at this online teaching as a kind of an extension of a classroom activity. But right now, when we are facing an unprecedented crisis, never in the human past the world has witnessed such a pandemic. Even the developed countries are struggling to find their ways out of it. So in this type of a condition, we cannot take the risk of asking the students to come to the classes, because the risk is not on something that is of less important. Risk is on the lives of people. So in this type of a condition, we are trying to make it up with an online facilitation of learning. See, as I told you already, if it is going to take 6 months or 7 months or 8 months, all these 6 months, 7 months, we cannot keep our boys and girls away from the matrix of learning, right? We cannot keep them away from the practice of learning. So in order to keep the ball moving, we are using it. That is the first thing. Right? Okay? So we cannot, there is no comparison between an online teaching and a face-to-face mode of teaching at all. There is nothing like that, right? Okay. And the other thing is, there was something question like lots of memes are coming criticizing online classes in the social media. What's your comment, right? You see, memes are again creative ways of expressing people's views and opinions, right? So that's it, right? And memes would keep coming on anything under the sun. Okay, anything that happens in the world, people will be creating memes, sharing views at all, right? But you see, let people have laughter. That's all, right? Okay, that we just stop with that, and we cannot keep answering, right, to the people who are creating memes. Memes are created on everybody: politician, good politician, bad politician, national leaders, world leaders, right? Again, but however, again, so the questions like this, whether technology is good or bad, right, are coming because of one reason, that the people look at technology as something very big. Please understand, technologies are too small in front of us, and technologies are supposed to be servants for us to do our work better. See, for instance, we say teaching is reaching. Today, I am not in a position to reach my students. So I use a tool, right? I use a platform. So I ask my servant, the technology servant, to take my message to the students. That is how I use technology as a tool for reaching my students. That is how we have to look at it, right? So thank you. Right? Yes, sir. Yeah, yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Just you finish your session with the topless quote, and of course, I want to close the session with Jafar's quote. Thank you, sir. Thank you, my friend, philosopher, my guide. Of course,
Yes,
nobody can say like that, because I am having the privilege of saying that. Thank you, my friend, philosopher, and my guide.
Yes,
Thank you,
sir.
sir. Thank you for your forcing informations bombarded together, and we are really enjoying the session, sir, because you have started from a very casual way, and with the humoristic cartoons and all these things, you have just elaborated everything. And thank you for the session, sir. And of course, it's a good start, and sure that all the remaining 2 sessions will go like this, and this particular topic will have its own bloom, sir. Thank you, sir.
Sure,
Thanks
sir.
for the participants. Please have your next session also by tomorrow.